Okay, so today I'm joined by Henry, the founder of SEO Space. Henry, could you just give the listeners just a quick rundown of what SEO Space is and what people use your product for?
Sure. So I made the SEO plugin for Squarespace. It's essentially a Chrome extension that will pop up on any Squarespace website that will tell Squarespace users how to rank higher up on Google. Space people call it the Yoast for Squarespace if you've ever used WordPress.
Yeah, nice. And we've been working together for about 6 months or so now.
Yeah.
If we rewind time a bit, what was growth like, or what was just your situation like back then when we first started working together?
Yeah, so I previously started a SaaS business which failed. So pretty much the situation I was in, I'd used the experience that I had up until that point, and I had hundreds of customers at the time, and I was like, I've never been in this position, so already I was hitting sort of the ceiling, um, and I really felt that in order to get to the next stage, I needed to work with people who had been there and done it and got the t-shirt essentially.
Nice, got it. Makes sense. And where are you today in terms of like growth, company size? Don't have to be too specific, but like just to understand where you are today.
Yeah, sure. So MRR since we started working together has just under tripled. Um, Active customers is like 50% up. So yeah, customer growth has been steady. It's since we work together, like the customer growth hasn't necessarily like gone up, but what has gone up is the ARPU. So I'm charging customers more. My churn has gone down. Um, and I would say that things are running a lot more as a SaaS business should be, in terms of like proper systems in place, proper tracking, just proper. If that doesn't, so like, yeah, MRR has grown, and I'm very sure that you've helped the MRR grow. It's almost tripled, but the main difference that I see is it's a proper SaaS business now with real tracking and real systems in place, which I didn't have before.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, turning it into a real business, I guess would be the
Yeah,
best way to
exactly.
summarize it. So
Exactly.
what's like the to help people understand the kind of opposite to that? So back before we started working together, when we first started working together, like what did it look like then? Like if today you're running a proper business, like what sort of problems were you dealing with back then?
Yeah.
Like what was going wrong?
So I'd I'd say I got product market fit already at that time. My experience before was primarily using Jira, so I knew how to build a product, how to run a tech team, and yeah, that was probably about it. So where the pain points were was there was no like nurture, there was no email flows, onboarding, the everything was super manual, and the experience for customers wasn't personalized at all. So, for example, there was no intercom in place that tailored the onboarding and the experience specific to the customers, which is obviously like it, that would have been reducing churn. Um, that would have been increasing churn. And there was no like systemized approach in order to make decisions. So everything was not on a whim, but based upon feeling and experience. There was no data behind anything, which essentially meant in a lot of areas I was going blind, particularly when it came to like support, onboarding, and data driven decisions behind what I do to the product.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. And so you said 3x MRR, like, what sort of activities or things have you done? Like, what sort of levers have you been pulling to do that? So you said ARPU has increased. So, what sort of activities have been done to increase that?
What sort of activities have been done? Um, One, revisiting the pricing plans. So restructuring how I was pricing, what the structure of the plans was. Um, Another part was like, I guess, CRO across the whole process. The first thing we attacked was the website. So the website was completely redone before. So like at SEO Space, I also have an agency, and the software fuels the agency. And the SEO Space website was, how I envisioned it, was a hub. It was like a hub. You land on SEO Space, and whether you want our services, our plugin, the course, whatever, you could get it. But then, Will and Liam were like, well, what do you want to grow? And for me, it was the SaaS. So they gave me that that honesty and that no bullshit approach of being like, well, if that's what you want to do, why aren't you pushing it hard? So we completely restructured the website, and then now we're revamping the UI of the SaaS, and so that CRO improvement is going to pass on to the website as well. So I would say that's one really big area. Then in terms of the tracking as well, I had no concept or idea of where people were dropping off in the journey. Where my bottlenecks were, what was hindering growth. And actually, a couple of days ago, I had my highest ever free trial signups in a day. So you can see, and that is the kind of thing. Like, the software was growing, and I didn't work with you guys because it wasn't growing. It's because I was not confident in whether my decisions were impacting things. And when you see stuff like your free trials come up, my website visitors hasn't massively spiked and correlating directly together. You can see that it's becoming more of like a well-oiled engine that's all working together rather than like different parts that are just glued, which is probably what it was when we first started.
Nice. Okay, yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of other things you've been doing behind the scenes, like how busy you are with like running events. You're doing some like lots of marketing activities in communities and stuff like that.
Yeah, the content is really. I don't think my content's still not fully there yet, but it's definitely. I would say it's running like a proper business, which again I wasn't there before. Like, all my tutorial videos are on Loom, for example, and like with your experience from Instantly and how you were helping me with those support. Like, it's that support. Like, it's little, but all of my tutorial videos are now on a dedicated YouTube channel and playlist, which again allows that to be an asset for my business, which probably if I'd have stood back, I would have known, but I didn't have the time to stand back because I was working so hard. And that's obviously where you guys came in.
Nice, got it. And there's no like shortage of information out there, right? There's no shortage of people saying they work in the SaaS industry and they know about SaaS. Like, what made you pull the trigger specifically with myself and Will?
It was just one, it came through a recommendation. I knew Will already, and so first it was, I knew Will already. Will had mentioned your experience, so like your experience at Instantly, your experience just in general in SaaS, and obviously Will's been there and done it. Um, got the t-shirt for sort of where I want to go. So it was just experience, and the reason that I worked with you guys was I can find out the information. I've already gone through and I've got the experience, but that SaaS business failed. So for me, I value just being able to cut through the fat, send a Loom video or go on a call and show you something. And you're just like, do this, look at this. Here's a framework, copy that. Because I'm really good at executing, but I don't have the experience of in certain areas. And I just want someone that has to tell me what to do, and I'll do it and tweak it based upon my unique situation.
Yeah. I think direct feedback, like just clarity as well, so you can just keep moving forward and you know what to work on.
Yeah, none of it's like, it's not like the secrets. It's all there, but like you being able to understand my situation, and maybe it took a couple of months, but because you guys aren't SEO experts, but you were able to take what you knew and your different resources, like the email marketing one was really good, and then help me apply it for my unique situation.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so covered 3x in MRR, 50% in customer growth.
Yeah,
A
something
lot
like
of
that.
a lot of progress on churn as well. I believe that was like a main sort of concern. So beyond like numbers, would you say there are like sort of any other ways, you know, we've helped out or you've appreciated through working with us?
um, yeah, I mean, just on churn, um, I can go through. I can just do that on a high level. So like at highest, and people watching this are probably gonna be like, feel sick. But at highest, my churn was like 18%, and then now we're like pretty close to single digit. So it's still high, but I don't think that is far off where it'll sort of settle down to. Hopefully, it settles down at like 7, just because of the niche I'm in and the type of customers. Um, and you asked like what are the areas that you've helped out with that in?
So like I think the numbers are good, right? People ultimately care about numbers, but I sort of refer to them as like soft metrics. Are there any other sort of ways that you've appreciated through working with us? Kind of the hard to quantify things, but you know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you found value in.
Um, Obviously we've never met in person, but I wouldn't class you as like a friend, but like as close as for someone that you've never met in person. Like I'm pretty sure we could go for a beer and go for dinner and have a laugh, and we talk about work a lot, but I could very easily see you as a friend, which I think is um super valuable, because when you're going through a SaaS software journey, I'm a solo founder. So I've got no one else that I can vent to, no one else that I can speak to that really understands what it's like. Um, so, I would go as far as saying like 30 to 50% of the time spent in our calls is just more casual chatting about different direction. You know, anyone watching this, if they're a SaaS owner, like everyone thinks about selling potentially one day. So those conversations, like I'm not talking about selling right now and not necessarily in like the next year or few years, but at least thinking through those things is super helpful. Because not everyone understands that. And some conversations can't speak to your team, you can't speak to your missus. Yeah, so those softer things, I guess.
No, I like that. Yeah, it can be lonely. Just people on like the same wavelength. Just like
Yeah, yeah.
even if it's just a bit of event, things aren't going wrong. A bit, I guess, unclear of where to take things. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good one. Okay, sort of final question then. So it's going to be ideally startup founders, you know, watching this, thinking about working with myself and Will at GrowSaaS. If someone's watching it right now and like they're on the fence about working with us, you know, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I guess I think it comes down to the position that you're in. Like, I think that if you're in a position where you've got a great product, and you've either got product market fit or you're getting really good feedback, and you're finding that maybe like me, that there's some areas that you can do it. I knew I could do product. But if there's areas which are going to be bottlenecks and are ultimately going to hold you back any significant percentage in terms of growth, I think it's worth working with you, because, let's say, you know, as I said, it's hard to like say how much it's really helped, but it's definitely some percentage of the MRR, even if it's like 30%. Well, over the course of the year, what does that do to my exit valuation? Or even whether you're able to exit at all? Because probably the mess that my business was, like, I wouldn't have been able to exit without some like, well, if I ever exit, I wouldn't be able to do it with the systems that I had in place. So I think it's a no-brainer, both in terms of unlocking growth that you otherwise wouldn't be able to achieve, but then also like looking forward to that end position, that if you do want to exit, you know, it's sort of a no-brainer, because the ROI is going to be, in the end, it's going to be like the price you pay isn't really going to matter, because the
Yeah,
growth in the end is, huge.
sweet. Appreciate it. Nice words. Cool. Well, that's it. Thanks so much for your time.
No worries, mate.